Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes Tottenham blog and today's review of Tottenham's defeat to Leicester in the Premier League yesterday. We're going to be talking about, first of all, the shocking performance that we saw on the pitch yesterday, but also what it means for Tottenham going into the rest of the season and why Tottenham fans need to take a step back and just relax and let's see how things play out before we go into Meltdown in the next couple of weeks. If you are new to the channel and you do want more content like this, including interactive live streams, Tottenham Hotspur transfer talk coming up again in January and some Spurs watch-alongs, take note of this message. So as we know, Tottenham rounded off a terrible week in the Premier League with a defeat at home to Leicester. Jamie Vardy from the penalty spot and a third Toby Alderweireld own goal gave Leicester all 3 points. It could have been worse. They had a goal disallowed by VAR, which I think we can all agree probably should have stood. James Maddison, the one who was adjudged to be offside in that one, but it was a very contentious decision. As for the performance itself, I'm not going to say too much about it because I think we all know how bad it was. I think everything that has to be said has been said, be it on Twitter yesterday, on YouTube in the last 16 or so hours, and every other platform really. People have been criticising that Spurs performance, and rightly so, because there was no cohesion in that team. It was a really strange one because we've seen in the last couple of weeks how well we have played together. You know, we can even go as recently as that first half against Crystal Palace. I thought we were absolutely outstanding, and it just didn't happen for us, which is a big shame, and it is a big concern because it was such a massive game for us because we had dropped those points against Crystal Palace, and then we've been beaten against Liverpool on Wednesday, and we were hoping for some sort of reaction. And I think the formation stayed the same, which I think was a big surprise when the lineup came out. I know I myself and David Harris, the Irish, we have been talking about potentially putting Lo Celso on that right hand side. And when the lineup came out, that is initially what I thought, but then everyone started talking about this diamond. But it was a 4-3-3 in the pitch, and it was a really strong lineup. So I think from that side of things, we can't really criticise Jose Mourinho for anything. Bergwijn was dropped, which the fans who've been defending him the last week or so were a bit annoyed at that. But you can't start a player just because he's having a tough time and he needs a confidence boost. At the end of the day, we need the best players on the pitch to go out and win us that game, especially because it was such a big game for us. I know we didn't do that, and in hindsight, you could say maybe Berg would be a better player to be on there because he had a point to prove. But I wouldn't have too many. I wouldn't argue that lineup decision, but just from the first minute, we didn't look good enough. We didn't want to get on the ball, which is okay when we're playing a team like Liverpool or City or anything like that. But Leicester didn't want to get on the ball either, and it was just a case of one team having to suck it up and take the possession and try and take the initiative and bring the game to the opposition. But we couldn't do that, and we were poor in possession. We were poor out of possession. We didn't look like creating much. We didn't look as though we were going to keep Leicester out for too long. I think we got lucky in that they didn't score earlier in the game. They didn't have too many clear-cut chances, but the difference between Wednesday and yesterday was on Wednesday we always looked compact, we looked comfortable, we looked happy with Liverpool having the ball in our final third, whereas when Leicester had the ball, when they were attacking our defence, there seemed to be a lot of panic, and it just wasn't good enough. And then Sergio Aurier, back to his old tricks with a stupid challenge in the box to give away that penalty, which I think Jamie Vardy 9 times out of 10 puts that in the back of the net. And look, the second half was much of the same. We made some substitutions. I'm worried about that Lo Celso injury. It did seem to be a rather innocuous one, a hamstring injury there, I'm sure. And Ndombele, he may have an injury, he may have a knock, because he did take a hit in that first half. And the fact he was brought off at the break in a tactical change, which is the weirdest one for me, because he's tactically a very versatile player. So the fact that it was him that was brought off was concerning. But then it was much of the same in the second half. They had a disallowed goal, which again I think should have stood. We definitely got lucky with that one. And Alderweireld, look, you can say he was unlucky, but it was just poor defending for that ball to be allowed into the box and for Sissoko to not even jump. Easy header for Jamie Vardy, and a bit of bad luck for Alderweireld, the ball deflecting in off him. But after that, once we got forward, we created a bit. We looked a bit more confident in possession, but we just didn't take our chances. Harry Kane, 2 games in a row now, has been really poor. Son missed a chance you'd expect him to put away. And just everything went wrong on the pitch. But now, look, what I want to say is football changes very quickly, and football forgets very quickly. And I tweeted this out yesterday. And Spurs fans have gone into meltdown now, which is fine. Look, the emotion often gets the better of fans. It happened to me on Wednesday when I said some things that I don't agree with on the post match show. I said it was the final straw for Virgo, and I don't believe that at all. But football forgets very quickly, and we've had one bad week. It's a bit unfortunate in that one bad week we have had 3 Premier League games, but we've fallen down the table very quickly. We've gone from 1st to 5th in the space of 7 days, but we could be back up there just as quickly. I'm not saying we will be, and I don't think we will be, but we can be. Things can change really quickly in a season where the fixtures are extremely congested, but also the table is really congested. There's so many teams in and around 23 to 27 points, where things can change very quickly. Now, we are 6 points off the top of the table, which is a massive, massive blow. And, I'm not going to rule us out of the title race, because I can't sit here for 2 months and say I think we can win the title, and then after a couple of bad games we fall a bit behind, immediately say we're out of the title race. Liverpool have some tough fixtures coming up. We have a relatively easy run of fixtures coming up. I know we've Stoke in the cup on Wednesday, I think that is, which I'll be doing a live watch along on this channel, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. We have Wolves in the league, it's a tough game. Then we've Fulham at home, which should be 3 points. Leeds at home, which again I think should be 3 points. They haven't played too well lately. We have then Marine in the cup, Villa following that one. Sorry about that. Villa away, then we have Sheffield United away, and a couple more difficult fixtures there. But those fixtures for the next month should really be something that gets us back into that title race, because or keeps us in that title race, because they're fixtures you'd expect us to win. So I think we need to sit back, relax, take a look at the bigger picture, which I know is often a struggle for Spurs fans, but take a look at that bigger picture. Realize that every team's going to have a bad patch in the season. Perhaps this is just our patch or poor run of form. It's a strange stage of the season for this to come to for us. We usually have a fantastic run around the Christmas period. I think before yesterday we'd won 6 of the last 7 games before Christmas in the league, which of course is now 6 and 8 following that defeat. I know Mourinho says a lot and the players say it a lot, and at times it does frustrate us, but the most important thing now is the next game, and that's the Cup quarter-final against Stoke, which I think we will win. I think bigger questions will have to be asked if we don't win that game, and I think that's going to be a comfortable victory for us. I do expect Jose to play a really strong team in that, because he wants a trophy, and a lot of the time the League Cup is his first trophy. I think it was his first trophy at Chelsea and perhaps at United as well. So I think he will go all out for that one, which I'm happy with. We want to see a trophy as much as we want to see anything else. Even if it is a League Cup, it's still Lloris getting his hands on a trophy, which I think will be really important for the mentality going into the rest of the season, if not anything else. And speaking of mentality, I think that defeat to Liverpool could prove to be a lot bigger in the mental side of things than it is in the table, because Liverpool were kind of scraping victories. They were struggling on the road. They were just kind of getting a bit lucky, and they were happy just be keeping in the mix rather than pulling away at the top of the table. And Spurs, we had a very different mentality in that we were seeing out games, perhaps barring that Palace one on Sunday. We were playing well. We were, whatever opposition we come up against, we were giving them a lot of problems. But that defeat, especially the manner it came in, that last minute victory, and us missing a lot of chances, I think could have a huge mental effect on us, because Liverpool went and recorded their biggest ever away win in the Premier League with a 7-0 against Palace. And we, of course, struggled to ever get going against Leicester. I think that's definitely a concern going into the next couple of weeks, the kind of the knock-on effect that result could have. But look, as I said, it's an extremely long season. There's a long way to go. There's a lot of football to be played, and it's not going to be an 80, 90, 100 point winning season again this year, because teams are just dropping points everywhere. And I think that's the main thing that is keeping Tottenham in this race right now, is that it is anybody's game. I think Everton, United and Leicester are ahead of us, which is crazy that how poorly United started the season. They're now actually, I think they're sitting third in the table, ahead of a team who at one stage were one of the favourites for the Premier League title. So it's just a crazy season. We really do need to look at this, the bigger picture, and take all this context into consideration, and realise things have changed for the poor really quickly. They can change for the good just as quickly as well. So we need to just take a couple of weeks, see where we are then, and hope things have turned around for us, which I imagine they will with the run of fixtures we have coming up. Make sure to leave down in the comments below your opinions on the game yesterday, but as well what I've said today, with just relaxing. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up as well. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button below. If you already have hit that subscribe button and you do want to become a channel member instead, click that join button and everything will be explained for you there. We move on to Stoke on Wednesday. As I said, live watch along on the channel with the Irish Iad and Marcelo. So make sure to stick around for that one. And as always, thanks for watching.